What is up, everybody? Bingo here. I'm with the Duel Factory for Season 2, Episode 15 of X2 Drop, our Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast we do every week, talking about whatever is going on in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. This week, we actually have something to talk about because we had some online tournaments hosted, and we got to see some sort of results. It's an online tournament, and it's not exactly the same, but we really get to take a look at Secret Slayers as a set and see how it's shaping up, because we've had some of these side deck building sets in the past. Since Sky Striker, they've honestly just been straight not good. But this one, it's not, on the surface, it's not the most exciting thing, but there's a lot of cool cards. There's a lot of cool archetypes. Well, 2 out of 3 to talk about. So, Joe, with your thoughts on Secret Slayers, what are they?
We should switch to Bakugan.
All right, let's go.
Anyway, no. At first glance, when I first looked at it, I didn't think it was as exciting set as it was going to be. Although after watching a lot, because I've been watching a lot of streams, I've been seeing a lot of online tournaments and stuff like that. One of the forerunners is obviously the Adamancipator deck, and not necessarily the deck as a whole, but its tuner monsters, and the Synchro monsters and Raptite and Dragite. The Leonite one's not, I don't think it's played as popularly as the other ones. But then it also brought some support from the Magical Hero set that had the Onomatopoeia and Go, whatever. It's 4 different names, right?
Yeah.
In combination with that, it's kind of the way I like to explain it, it's kind of like modern Lightsworn, but without the cause of sending everything to the graveyard because of the excavation effects and being able to have great synergy with rock cards, and you're just making big boards. You also have the Eldritch deck, which is a zombie deck out of it, which is more or less true Deco 2.0, where it's just this big stun deck, right? And after seeing it play and stuff like that, it's definitely found its way itself into the meta itself. However, there's a bunch of decks that are good to compete against it right now. Anyway, there were Salomon Great decks or Dragon Link decks. Orcus is still around, all sorts of stuff, but those decks have definitely found their way at least into top 5 of the meta right now. So it's a lot more powerful of a set than people give it credit for, especially myself, but it still only have online tournament showings and stuff like that, so that could also change.
Yeah, and with the online tournaments, I'll get into that in a second, but honestly, my thoughts on the archetypes, I'm not the biggest fan of zombie decks, but the Golden Lord deck seems really cool. They're trying to make trap monsters not horrible, and the way it plays, it's not my play style, but I don't think it's as irritating to play against as True Draco. But I actually haven't played against the deck because I haven't played a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2 weeks. But it's not the most fun or exciting thing to watch. It's one of those grindy decks that just generates advantage over time. It seems neat, right? The Adamancipator cards, those are what I've been excited for. One, they're gorgeous, but the way the deck's being played and piloted is not how I want to play the deck, because like you said, it doesn't play Leonite. It plays 1 copy of Dragite in the main deck, right? And it's
it
9
plays
tuners.
Yeah, it plays the one, it plays you max out on the tuners. You have the one Dragite crystal card
and 3
on the water. Yeah, you have the water one because it's the one that gives it's the one that makes a synchro live. And then like I said, you're not really playing anything else other than the tuners, and you're playing the Monster Reborn. The Monster Reborn's broken.
Yeah, the Monster Reborn's nuts.
And then it's just basically all right, so what can we do? And it turn 1, and then Block Dragon's just insane. That deck's gonna get Block Dragon banned. It's gonna be real sad. But
no, it's only so good in that deck because of Union Carrier. Without Union Carrier, it would still be good in the pure Adamancipator deck, but having access to it at any point in your combo string.
Bro, they're just 3 cards.
Yeah, but that's fine. If you can equip it from your deck, that's when it becomes broken. But
bro, that card's not okay.
Union Carrier is not okay.
There's a lot of things that are not okay.
Block Dragon's the problem, not the card that enables Block Dragon to be Block Dragon is unfair. We've seen it with what was it, Gem Knight FTK, and
I don't know though. It's just one of those decks. It's just
it's just
I'm telling you, bro. It's modern day Lightsworn.
The way it's being played, I wouldn't say Lightsworn was a wombo combo deck. Like eventually it became that, and that was when it was just
No,
good.
but it is RNG the deck. Like
Yeah.
that's what it like right now. That's what it is.
But
It's actually kind of crazy too, though.
yes, it's technically RNG, but they're like it's calculated RNG, right? Like you're expecting to be able to build this board every single turn, and like it's just another combo deck that sets up an unbreakable board, and if it gets broken, yes, you have recovery, but it's not the strongest, and that's not my favorite way to play.
I don't know.
The pure version of the deck is super fun.
You should see the actual like replays I've actually been seeing of like the deck actually being played. Like its ending boards are sick.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like Appaloosa, fucking 1 or 2 rank 4s. Is it still playing Crystal Wing?
some of the most common I've seen, because I've been watching a lot of Cody Angeloff streams. Like it's like, okay, so it's Appaloosa, then you have Masquerena, any rank 4 of your choice, Herald of the Arclight, and Dragite, and it's sick.
Yeah. So that's Spell and Trap Negate. Herald's a Omni Negate, right? But it's
Omni Negate, and it's
field.
a macro.
Like it can only negate stuff activated on field, right?
I think it can negate anywhere. I'm not 100% sure, but it is an Omni Negate, and then a lot of people forget about this effect, but as long as it's face up on the field, it starts with
it's pseudo macro.
Yeah.
Appaloosa IP into Unicorn or Phoenix or whatever.
Yeah, any line of interruption. It's pretty sick ending board.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And then Dragite, if it lives, just gets the bounce cards for free.
Yeah, and so I was like, reveal a rock monster. That's it.
Yeah, that's hard. But okay, so there is a third deck in the set that was it called Rika in the TCG, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just not good. I don't know how else to say it. Like it's neat, I guess. Like the boss monster is pretty cool, but outside of that,
people get excited because you can play Lone Fire, and then they're like, "Oh wait, this deck's not good."
Yeah, the rank was it rank 8? Snowdrop was, I think
so. I honestly couldn't tell you a single Rika card.
Like that is the only reason like the deck or like the concept of the deck isn't horrible. I want to say it like tributes a monster your opponent controls for cost or something. Was it Rika? Detach 1 material from this card, target 1 monster on the field, tribute it, and so it's not cost to tribute. It's a quick effect if you have a plant, and then you can use it once per turn. Each time a card is tributed again. So it's just spot removal that doesn't destroy or... Does it target? I already forgot. Yeah, it does. So it's neat. It's generic, but it's only gets a quick effect if it's got a plant as material, so that's never going to see play. All right, so that's the sets. And on to the online tournaments that have been showcased. Now, I do want to say the representation is probably very skewed because people just want to play, like mess around with the new stuff, get some real experience with the new stuff. So I'm sure there was a high quantity of Emancipator and Eldritch in the tournaments rather than, the decks that people would take to a regional. But there are paid tournaments, so there's some merit there. Joe, you watched quite a bit of them actually. So what did you think of the online tournaments?
The online, honestly, if I'm going to be 100% honest, like after, like, especially like watching like streams and stuff like that, compared to like when Konami streams like the YCS and stuff like that, I enjoy watching the online tournaments a little bit more. I really do, because you get like an actual like insight more of it, and then like you see a lot more stuff in the I think you see more competitive play in the online tournaments, and the reasoning behind that is on an online platform, right? Which I'll admit ours isn't very good compared to other ones. But the online platform, there's no like cost deterrent, right? Like everyone has access to all the same stuff. So there's not be like, oh, I have to play around this because my opponent wasn't able to buy this or something like that. Like everyone's on the same level playing field. But that being said, like people are just like, from what I've seen, is people are just playing the new stuff. So there's a lot of Emancipator, there's a lot of Eldritch. But then there's other players on there. I'm trying to think of his name. Like, there's a guy who's like a dedicated water player that only plays online. That he was playing. I know he's playing in the pro play one. I don't know how far he got. But then you'll see like your Salomon Great decks, you'll see your Dragon Link decks and stuff like that. But that's what makes like the online platform interesting to me compared to the other events right now. So that's what my like first like take on it is. Plus, there's no restrictions by Konami, so you can just do whatever you want. Like, they played for money this week, and it was actually pretty dope.
Yeah, and we'll probably get into this later in the podcast, but online tournaments, they're awesome. Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to host them. It's just unfortunate that we have to, one, do everything ourselves through a third-party platform. I think that's the biggest complaint is on my end, is that it's not like it's just some random website, you know?
Yeah, no, more or less that's what it is. It's just a random website. Now, I do like the freedom that an emulator like Dueling Book gives, but I can see where there's a bunch of problems with it because you have to have a judging staff and everything like that to actually operate it. Whereas, I think Percy was the last one we had. I know we just got a newer one, more up to date and stuff like that, but everything was automated and stuff like that. But the problem with that is it doesn't go by TCG USA rulings. It goes by like EU rulings and stuff like that. So like, there's no like online platform and there's no like universal rule set per se. So that makes it kind of difficult.
So were the tournaments, the judging staff, was it the Dueling Book judging staff, or did the tournament organizers have their own judging staff?
They they got judging staff from actual like it was actual resource judges off the Dueling Book page. Like I think Coder actually now I think about it, streamer, I think Distant Coder was in it.
I know Distant Coder was doing one of them because I watched his judge calls from it. That was pretty funny.
His judge calls or something else. But yeah, I mean, like, it's an interesting way to keep the game going. I think it's a route the game could honestly go, because I feel like you'll see a lot more competition if you go that way. But I don't know. I like being able to sit at a tabletop and actually play the game. So
yeah, and that's the end goal. But you want to be able to play from your house, you know, when it's 9 o'clock at night and you really want to play some Yu-Gi-Oh. We've talked about this, it feels now, the past 3 weeks, how it's frustrating because my biggest complaint is, since it's not automated, you have to type everything out, because YGO Pro is it's a straight joke, right? So you have to play on Dueling Book for like real tournaments, and it's all typed out. There's no like there's no like voice chat lobbies. Like, you could get in a voice chat with your opponent. I think that would I know the tournaments they were getting in Discord,
yeah,
so that they could talk. But if you were playing ranked on Dueling Book, if they had a button that you would click to voice connect with your opponent, how much better would this system be?
It'd be a lot easier, that's for sure. Like, that actually might be insane.
Yeah, you could actually play a game in under, like a match in under an hour without it dragging on, you know?
That's the only complaint I have so far, is like the matches literally last forever. Like, when I get in a match of ranked in Dueling Book, like, my match is either going to be, it goes like 10 or 15 minutes, or like I'm there for the next 2 days with a blood sacrifice and still getting nowhere.
Your opponent's like, oh, sorry, man, I tabbed out. What happened?
That's literally what happens. It's like super frustrating. I tabbed out. What?
All right. So how do you feel like the two decks from this set are pairing up with the current metagame? Because most of the decks are still here. So we still have Salomon Great. We still have Dragon Link. I honestly forgot the metagame from 2 weeks ago. So you watched the tournaments. How do you think they paired up against the stuff that we all know?
They're tier 1. There's no doubt in my mind. It's one of those decks like Eldritch is, like I said, it's tier Draco 2.0. It's going to outgrind your opponent. The Golden Lord is actually an insane card. The actual cards themselves are really good. My personal favorite being the Guardian Trap card, but like they're tier 1. It's tier 1 for sure. Adamancipator, to me, is, if you're going to play combo, that's the way to go. Like 100%. Like, yeah, it's RNG the deck, but like its ceiling is insane. Like, what it can do. and it can do it with every single hand. And then the fact that like one of the most popular outs to the deck is like, or out to a combo deck is like Nibiru, and the fact that the token that it generates is a rock, and it works with all your other rock cards in your deck. Like that's I think that's the part that puts it over the top, where you have to start looking at different hand traps to play against a deck like that.
So the current Adamancipator list, the combo heavy, like 9 tuners, 1 non-tuner or whatever, can that deck play around Nibiru, or is it just going to play through Nibiru?
Oh, it's just going to play through it. It doesn't matter. Like if you Nibiru your opponent, it's going to have the gas to stop it. Plus, it can also make an Omni negate within the first 5 summons, I believe. It also, like I said, but the problem that I have with it, like there's dedicated 2 or 3 card combos, right? Like it's all RNG. Like you don't know what's happening until it gets there.
Yeah, that's why the pilot of the deck is going to be everything, especially when the games aren't over on turn 1. That's when the deck pilot is really put into question, because that's not something you can look up. Goki combo YouTube Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like
Goki combo is easy, bro. That's only 2 Gokis. Bro.
Yeah, this, you're like, okay, what am I going to get? Okay, I have 4 tuners on the board. How did this happen? What do I do?
Let me put it this way. There's no open rat diagram go. There's none of that.
All right, so Eldritch, it can outgrind the decks that are currently in the metagame like that easily. Because I know the spells and traps, like, they're actually pretty crazy, like for a resource, for your resource game, but like doesn't it have problems dealing with like an Adamancipator board or like any sort of like combo deck going second?
So here's the thing that I've seen about Eldritch. So looking at the top 8 for the PPG, right? 3 pure Eldritch, and then there was an invoked Eldritch that made top 8, right? So that's half the field right there. The deck is one of those decks. Like I 100% think it's a tier 1 deck. But here's what I think about it. It is a deck that takes a 1 to 2 turn setup to actually start going, like most stun decks are traditionally, right? I've seen other people play it with cards like the Magician Souls. Like I said, there was an invoked build that was in, so it kind of mitigate going first and stuff like that. And it's a deck, although it is kind of tough going second with the deck, it has the benefit of being a trap deck, so you get the extra cards, you have more resources to work with. And then it's not like traditional trap decks where the trap cards and the spell cards have additional effects when they hit the graveyard, like the Scarlet Stone, Elixir of Black, Elixir of White, Guardian, like those cards, like they have multiple effects. So it's kind of like where the True Draco spells and traps had multiple card effects. These do as well, but being also the benefit of a lot of them having multiple effects and being trap cards, they can be chained during either player's turn. So they have that inherent spell speed that trap cards have. So that's what makes it like one of the better like choices and stuff. Like that's what I think just makes it like probably. I'm not gonna say it's the best deck to come out of Secret Slayers, but it's definitely up there.
As far as like a pure deck, because like the Adamancipator, it is heavily reliant on the Adamancipator cards, but like they're just it's essentially just an engine, right? It's 10 cards in the deck that fuel the rest of your strategy. Well, I guess 13 because of the Monster Reborn, but
more or less that's what it is.
Yeah, it's just an engine for a combo deck. The Eldritch it's a complete strategy. You're like almost maxing out on everything, because I mean the spells and traps they generate so much advantage. Like the longer the game goes on, it's just like you can't keep up, because they all banish themselves to set another card to your field.
Exactly. The longer the game progresses, the better the deck gets.
Kind of reminds me of like just the way that works. It kind of reminds me of Paleo, where every time you do something, you're just getting another card, except it's less susceptible to.
It's the same thing. It's just like Paleo. It's just like Altergeist or anything like that. It's just like any other trap deck. The longer the game goes, the better it gets. Like once you get past turn 2, turn 3, it's very hard to beat the deck. It's very hard because it's established. It keeps recurring resources way faster than your deck can at that point, and it doesn't run out of steam. Like that's the big thing.
Oh, and don't forget you get to pay 800 life.
Pay 8, feel great, Clean Nation. Come at me.
So I was really surprised. Like there was a lot of pure Eldritch decks, like not playing any other zombie support. Like, does it not fit well? I feel like
There's
solitary Unizombie, right?
there's Eldritch, and then there's traditional zombie support, which right now, like traditional zombie support, so like Balderok, Unizombie, Solitaire, and stuff like that. Like they're cool. Like, Unizombie's an interesting card though, because like I feel like it directly like solves the problem of the Eldritch deck, which it gives you immediate access to the Golden Lord himself. But in terms of it, like you're going from a stun strategy to a somewhat combo strategy to high ceiling combo at that point. So like that's where the rest of the zombie support kind of like sits there, and it's kind of like a, I don't want to say like an awful fit, but it's awkward. You know what I mean?
It's a shout out to Aaron for bringing this up. It's that power versus consistency feeling. You know, most players gravitate towards making a deck stronger for less consistency, or like I'd say the average players, where the decks you see doing the best are the ones that can do the same thing. Because I mean, how long were those tournaments? They were pretty long, weren't they?
Yeah, they were long one. Like most of the round, like they had timers and stuff like that, but like most of the round, like they're hour-long timers, and they were still like going past time.
They were like what 8-9 rounds or something like that.
Yeah, it was like just a regular full size. It was like it was being run as if it was a full-sized event.
Yeah, so 9 rounds. If your deck has consistency issues, you're gonna see it. So I feel like that's why the pure versions made it. Just like Balderok's such a good card.
I love that card. The card's so good. I like zombies. It's just, to me, like I want to say I like the Eldritch deck, but like it doesn't play like how like I like playing. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's not like your traditional zombie deck, because zombies have like it's always been like this combo engine, right? It's since Grass was released, that's basically how it's been being played. And
my favorite time for zombies, other than when I got back into the game in 2012, summoning Goblin Zombie off Summon Sork and comboing the fuck off. My favorite.
yeah, that was just crazy. Well, what was that? That was a PPG event where he got top cut with was it Revendred? Like
He didn't do it with Vendred. It was I know he topped a regional playing it, but the build he was playing, it was just like regular zombies, but it was Orcus zombies. That's what he was playing with the Danger Engine.
Yeah. So this doesn't feel like a zombie deck. It just feels like a Golden Lord deck. You know, it's like he just looks like it looks like a fiend. Honestly, it doesn't look like a zombie, but he's wearing high heels for anybody that doesn't know.
Well, now what can be seen, what is seen cannot be unseen. So do with that information what you will.
All right, if you had to pick one, would you play Adamancipator or would you play Eldritch?
Adamancipator, 100%.
Would you play it as is, or would you? What would you do with it?
Oh, I'm comboing. I'm playing that. I'm playing the Go engine in it. That deck's insane. Like after watching it, that deck is insane.
All right, so that's pretty much it on Secret Slayers. I'm not going to talk about the Rika cards because there's nothing to talk about. Don't play them. What are we looking for from this point on? Because product release, we don't get Eternity Code for another month or so, if I'm not mistaken. It's like
it's been delayed a month. But next week we do get the new Machina Structure deck, and we get that new quick play spell that's like really good in the ABC deck.
Which one?
Malefactor's Command or something like that. I'm trying to remember what they changed the name to. Let me see if I can.
What's it do?
You basically. Let me pull it up real quick. I know it equips A, B, and C from the deck. I can't remember the requirements for it though. Like, but that's what it does. Like, it's basically like a miniature Union Hanger. Kind of.
It equips all of them or one of them?
It equips one.
Oh, okay. I was like, no fucking way does it equip 3 cards from the deck.
Here you go. Malefactor's Command. I don't know what the TCG name is. So you target one machine monster you control, equip one appropriate machine union monster from your deck, from your hand or deck to that monster. But the union monster you equipped cannot be special summoned this turn. You can only activate one Malefactor's of command per turn.
Okay, so it helps. It either extends your combo if you open the hanger, or it helps you if you don't open the hanger.
Yeah, like it actually like it does a lot for the deck. I'm actually super excited. And then you get like the Machina cards, which are like really cool themselves, but like they're not going to be like meta defining. But it'll be something interesting to play with. It's just basically generic machine support going forward. But
you think they'll give us a second Buster Dragon, like eventually?
I think eventually. I think putting it to one was kind of unnecessary,
Yeah, it was
but
unnecessary and preemptive. Because like even if we had, let's say it was going to be this unstoppable force, we had to. It would have been. It wouldn't have been the best deck. It wouldn't even been close.
it's kind of funny thinking about it now. But like especially for modern day Yu-Gi-Oh, and I remember playing in 2016, but the deck's just honestly too slow to keep up. That's honestly the big problem.
If you open optimal every time, yeah, the deck is very difficult to deal with. But anyone that's played the deck for more than 5 minutes knows that's not going to happen.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, like it's just it's like the remaining shells of older Yu-Gi-Oh, which was classic, just rank 4 Yu-Gi-Oh. But I digress.
But as far as the Master Rule change, would you say Adam Emancipator is the deck abusing the change the most out of the current metagame?
I think 100%. Like it got a huge boost with there being no like Master Rule 4 or anything like that. Now that we have the revised Master Rule, like I think the deck got a lot better because now you're just able to like summon, like you have so many cards you can go into, like being able to make Herald like turn 1 without taking up your extra monster zones actually just insane.
I wonder what the next deck is that isn't Link focused. That's really just gonna like dominate. I want a not a control deck, but a tempo based deck that is like Xyz focused to like be in the top tier, because Xyz monsters are by far my favorite type of monster because they just look gorgeous, right? The black borders, it just looks beautiful. I want that to be the best deck.
All black everything, bro. All black everything. It'll be just like Zoo format, bro.
Oh yeah, if only. Zoo's the best deck. I don't know why we're talking about all these bad decks.
Bro, clearly you never lived through Pepe.
Yeah, I'll just activate Dewberry though, so it's all right.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Pendulum can never ever be the best deck again.
Not under the Master Rules. That's for sure.
The Master Rule, there's so many counters to it, but
no Electromite, no Astrograph, no Joker, no Double Iris. Like all the cards that make sense that are just gone.
How are they going to ban Electromite and not give us Double Iris?
Bro, they don't care. They
don't like, care. Pendulum was a mistake. That's basically what Konami's saying, because there's so many hits to the Pendulum Magician core, I guess, that
other than Cleefort cards, they're all generic.
Hey, I just want to be able to search Time Pendulum Graph. Is that so bad?
Kind of.
I can't even do it now because Electromite's banned.
Bro, a double iris and Electromite are gone, bro.
All right.
Time to shit on it.
We got a minute left. Joe, final thoughts.
It's going to be a hell of a game when we finally get out of quarantine. That's for sure. Eldritch, True Draco 2.0, all hail masterpiece. That's kind of weird. My final thought that I have every single week never changes, but Douglas French has no sauce.
Piccolo, you have no sauce. No. Hey.
All right, guys. Well, like Joe said, there is a lot to look forward to after we're out of quarantine. I'm actually super excited to see what the first major tournament is after quarantine's over, what the results are. But it's going to be funny because the major tournament's going to go and then 900 people get sick or whatever. But If you have enjoyed this video and you have a topic idea, please share it because there is not much to talk about. Next week, we're going to have a guest on, so feel free to come back and check that out. He's a small YouTuber. What is his name again? I've totally forgot. King of Scrubs. He's a European, right?
I believe so.
So we'll have him on to get his opinion on the underappreciated archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! But if you think you have a better idea, please let us know on YouTube or Twitter. And I'll see you guys back here next week. Peace out.
Okay, bye.